Welcome into SportBet Extra. I am your host, Paul Rami, here every Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. I've got my Parlay Win Repeat shirt. If you guys want to ask about that, hit my DMs at the Paul Rami on X there. Follow me on YouTube at the Paul Rami. We are live there as well. Today is November 6th, 2025. Again, we are here every Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time. However, tomorrow we have some conflicts. I will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Central Time. So 2 Eastern, 1 Central tomorrow, just for that Friday. Again, some things have come up and I have a few conflicts for tomorrow. Another great day of betting yesterday. We'll recap that as we go 3-0 last night. We'll talk a little bit about today's games. There's only one NFL game, one NBA game. We're just going to touch on those before we get into a little bit of college basketball. Today's really going to be a kind of short, quick, and sweet show. Tomorrow will be the one where we have a longer show. We got a lot more to discuss as we're going to talk college football for Saturday. We're going to talk NFL for Sunday and get you guys covered for the weekend. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, yesterday, Cavaliers, they did miss having Darius Garland there. Man, they looked good when he was back. Jarrett Allen was back. The squad looked good. They came out very hot to start. Cleveland was up 19, I believe, at one point in the second quarter there. They were really giving it to the 76ers. We had 76ers first half plus 5.5 there, and we just get by as they cover late. They come back, make a run there to cover the first half. Big second quarter there for Maxey, who really got off to a slow start. I think only 4 points in the first. Second quarter, he definitely picked it up there. I mean, this dude is leading the league. Last I checked from yesterday before the game ended, he was up there, 34.4 points per game. He's a beast, man. He's going to be making a case for scoring champion this year for sure. Pelicans, that game, again, 6 players in double-digit scoring. They cover the first half. They win the game. That hype on Dallas really needs to stop. Klay Thompson, he's a shell of what he once was. AD, injury-prone, obviously. Kyrie, not even sure when he's going to make his return. I mean, it's going to be a while before this team gels. Laying 8.5 was just a little ridiculous there. Even the first half, laying the 4. So Pelicans, they get the cover first half, so we win that one, and they win the game outright. So if you had them there also, congratulations to you. That's just a ridiculous number. Again, minus 8.5. I'm going to keep fading Dallas until that team can show me something. Again, I'm not going to lay any large number with that team there for any near future bets, that's for sure. On to Indiana in college basketball. They had absolutely no trouble covering that 29.5, shooting 42% from 3. They go on to win by 47. Indiana, watch them this year in the Big Ten. They're going to look good. Like I said, they're going to be a nice team with DeVries there, with the Sun playing. They're going to be a good squad to watch in the Big Ten. Let's touch quickly on the NBA and the NFL. Only one game for each tonight. Looking at the NFL now, it may sound like I am beating a dead horse here, but again, I am all in on this Broncos team this year. Like I mentioned, I got them 22-1 to win the Super Bowl. I placed that a few weeks back, or just last week, I believe it was. I haven't really been this excited about this team since Champ Bailey. If anyone remembers Champ Bailey, lockdown corner, dude was a beast on the Broncos. That team was something else. As for tonight, there's really only one angle that I would look here. I just don't trust the Raiders to score enough on this Broncos team. This defense, they're just going to really, man, they're going to be too tough for the Raiders. Raiders, they're ranking, what is that, dead last in the league in total yards and points scored on offense. It's going to be a really tough task. So really, I'm not liking the over or the under, the total at all for this game, because if you're going with the over, you're asking for the Raiders to score, which is going to be tough, or you're asking the Broncos to put up 40-something points. However, if you're going with the under, again, that may be one of those that the Broncos just blow out the Raiders and cover the over by themselves. So we're not going either that way of the full game total. I'm really not interested in laying at 8.5. I believe the number's at right now. I know it's a short week. Raiders going into elevation. It's going to be a tough game for the Raiders. However, it's the NFL any given Sunday or Thursday in this case. You never know. Now, the Broncos defense, it is ranked first in the league in third down percentage against opposing offenses. Again, I just don't think there's enough time in the week that the Raiders have been able to come up with a bunch of offensive schemes or any ways to really score on this defense. I mean, really watch the Broncos get a pick six or a fumble return for a touchdown this game. I do have a play for this game that I will give out here at the end, so stay tuned or just skip ahead to the very end if you're catching this on replay. Now, we'll discuss more NFL, like I said, on tomorrow's show. We're going to go into detail there, and then college football as well. Tonight, we do have one NBA game. Not very interesting. You've got the Clippers at the Suns there. No James Harden. He's out due to personal reasons. No Kawhi Leonard. Probably injury management. Again, we know the case with Kawhi there. So look for really Chris Dunn to get a lot of work tonight. I'm not going to be taking him on a player prop, but I wouldn't be against it. If you like Chris Dunn there on the points with that over, that'd be a nice little player prop to throw in on all your parlays there. Defensively, you're not going to get much out of either of these teams tonight, so that would be the only way I would look if you do want any action on this game. Just look at it being a really sloppy game. So again, I'm not going to be getting involved. Only one I kind of like there is a player prop for Chris Dunn on his over on points. Again, nothing for me on this one, so we're going to go ahead and just get into a little bit of college basketball. Tonight's games, they're not that great. There are some good ones. There's a couple that we're going to cover here, but like I said, today there's just not a lot going on that we love, and we're not going to force action. Now, Louisville laying the 37.5 at Louisville against Jackson State. We saw what Louisville did to SC State. They blew them out by 50. What is that? Almost 60 points there. They could easily do that again. That's again, like I said, that large number. You're starting to creep close to the 40s there. The books are starting to realize, okay, we may have to lay 40. So look at next week when they do start to get to those numbers. Right now, they're still going to keep it at that 30, 35 number. They're really not going to get to the 40s until next week. You may see those teams laying 40, 41 around that range. I'm not going to take Louisville here. I wouldn't, if you laid the 37.5, I would not be against it. I'm just not interested in that game. Campbell, West Virginia. Again, West Virginia laying the 16.5. We talked about that team on Monday, I believe it was. Just they're going to have a lot of cohesion issues still. I mean, we saw what they did. Again, I mentioned North Texas head coach came over to West Virginia. He brought his two players with him. Those two performed well. The others need to gel. They need to mesh. They need a lot more time together. I was close, very close to getting in on the Citadel at Boston College game. Just not enough there to keep me with taking Citadel. I did like them plus the points. Boston College, there's just not really anything interesting about them this year. So I'm staying off that one. Lemoyne, Xavier, again, I'm not going to lay anything with Xavier right now. I don't trust that team. They're kind of in that rebuild mode. So we're staying off that one. There is one that I do like that I want to talk about. It looks like the number has already kind of moved not in our favor. So let me go pull and see what I've got on this one. It's going to be Robert Morris against Drake here. So look, guys, girls, bettors, everyone watching, you're not going to find many other cappers and shows talking about Robert Morris and Drake, talking about all these other schools. This is where we are going to find the value. Robert Morris, they had a successful 24-25 season. We saw last year they finished 26-9. They made the NCAA tournament. They put up a fight against Alabama. In the offseason, though, they did see a lot of turnover with the entire starting lineup. They're gone in the transfer portal. I believe it was all but, one scholarship player departing, either through graduation or the transfer portal. So Robert Morris, what they did go into the portal and they really focused on size, getting Ocon there, the 7-1 player from Alabama State, who has a little bit of experience there in the NCAA tournament. And then 6'11", Josh Hill from Arkansas State as well. Coach Andy Toole, now in his 16th season with Robert Morris. They've got a long road ahead of him this season, but that first game against Iowa was somewhat promising, right? Your team shot 45% from three and 48% from the field. Free throw shooting, however, turnovers, all those are a little bit concerning. Now they are taking on a Drake team that brought a new coach, Eric Henderson, from South Dakota State. So again, Drake, all new look here as well. The Bulldogs, they lost nearly all of their production from last year. Ex-coach Ben McCollum, he left for Iowa. And when he left, he took 4 of his top 6 scorers with him from Drake to Iowa. So that team is pretty much diluted all the way down. Henderson did add 7 transfers I'm looking at here to replace some of that scoring and size. 46 rebounds in their first game, 5 blocks. That's great stuff. But the lack of steals, they only forcing 2 steals, causing 6 turnovers the whole game. They turned the ball over 10 times themselves. This team has a lot of chemistry that they're going to have to work out. I'm trusting Robert Morris here a little bit more with the coach. Now, this Drake team really, they're not the team from last year. Robert Morris, they should be able to match up well with Drake and keep this thing a little bit closer than that spread is suggesting. So we are liking Robert Morris there. Again, official play here at the end. Let's move on to another quick one. Again, this is only going to be the last one that I'm probably going to talk about. Again, not many angles, not much else we really liked on this full slate for today. Florida, we were close. Again, they're at that number, that 41.5. Not quite ready yet to lay that with Florida, even though we could see them easily blowing them out. I'm actually going to go to a late night game on the West Coast. We're talking Denver at Washington. So Denver, they had massive turnover. Only 3 scholarship players they're returning for this year. Really, you're going to limit continuity, kind of that rebuild under a new coach. Tim Bergstracer, these returners, they accounted for only about 15% of scoring last season for Denver. So you've got a whole new team here. They added 10 transfers from JUCO, D2 schools. So they're really trying to get this team to mesh early on. That's going to be trouble against Washington on the road. He did bring in 4 guys with familiarity when he did coach at Minnesota State Moorhead, smaller school there. It's going to be a tough task, like I said, going up against Washington. This is Denver's final season in the Summit League before they join the West Coast Conference. That's going to be incredible to see them in the West Coast Conference. They're going to struggle a lot. They're really going to struggle this year. They're going to struggle next year. Even the coach, he noted that there is growth potential by saying this thing is going to take some time to work. So he's telling you, he already knows this is going to take time. He's saying, don't bet on my team right now. Loud and clear. You got it. Washington on the other side, they just have way too much size for Denver to really be able to handle. With Frank Capang at 6'11" there, the freshman out of Germany. I don't know if you saw him first game. Hans Steinbach also, he's 6'11" there. Very impressive debut, putting up 21 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. He's going to have his way again tonight with Denver there. Danny Sprinkle enters year 2 at Washington. He's going to look to get his team ready for the Big Ten. Points in the paint last game, massive advantage for Washington. They put up 36 compared to Arkansas Pine Bluff's only 12. I don't see why they don't do the same thing tonight. I don't see why they don't blow them out tonight as well. So, look, again, not a lot in college basketball tonight. Tomorrow will be a longer show. Tomorrow we're going to have more with NFL and college football. So the plays that I do have, let me go over those real quick, and I'm going to get those locked in. Again, I do use the odds from Profit X. So let me see what we've got currently on Profit X. I want to go back to the NFL, looking at Denver there, and I want to look at the team total for Denver. I was interested in that last night as I was pulling it up. I just want to make sure we've still got a solid number there. So team total over 26.5. It looks like we can get about maybe a minus 107 right now. So I'm going to go Broncos team total over 26.5 minus 107. Getting that locked in as week. That's going to be play number 1 for tonight in the NFL. On to college basketball. Like I said, I like Robert Morris here. It was 8.5 overnight. However, we're here this morning. That number has moved down to a 7.5. I still like them at that 7.5 number. I wish we could have got them at the 8.5, but that's neither here nor there. So looking at it right now, plus 7.5, minus 104 for Robert Morris there. 7.5 minus 104. Again, great odds there. If you are using Profit X, you're betting against other players. You're not betting against the book. And then last one, like we just talked about, Washington laying that large number. I want to double check what that line is. It looks like it's at a 28 right now. So Washington minus 28, minus 107. So let me get that one locked in. Minus 107. And there we go. 3 plays for tonight. Quick show. Very simple. Try to give you information on some games that I like. Broncos team total over 26.5 minus 107. Robert Morris plus 7.5 minus 104. And then Washington minus 28 minus 107. Those are the 3 plays for tonight. Last night we swept 3-0. Let's see if we can do the same thing tonight. Again, you can always go to winnable.com/thepaulrami to get all my plays. They are posted after the show. Sign up there. Again, we went through the college basketball, went through NBA. Follow me on X and at YouTube at the Paul Rami. Again, one more quick announcement. Tomorrow, like I said at the beginning of the show, I want to remind you, tomorrow I will not be here at 10 a.m. Central Time. We're going to be looking around 1 p.m. Central Time. For anyone who does catch it, you might catch it a little bit later tomorrow. I will see you guys then. Have a good one.